Hey guys, if you follow my community page, you'll know that I wanted to go over uniforms that you guys said should have been on my various worst of lists, along with some personal honorable mentions that I could have put on my list as well, because there's not going to be another time I bring these up. It's always interesting to see what people say, and I always encourage people to voice their opinions. I've had people agree, disagree, the whole nine yards. So now, let's examine the uniforms that you all thought were terrible.
Chicago White Sox 1982 to 1986 uniforms. I wholeheartedly disagree with this. It's always been such a clean look, and I love how it's the throwback uniform the Sox wear on Sunday home games. Unfortunately, nowadays, since the 2020 season, it's got that stupid Nike logo on the front like a zit. Blech. But otherwise, I always like this look, and not just because I have merch of it. St. Louis Cardinals 2019 to present alternate road uniforms. Everyone salivates at the mouth over the Cardinals' old powder blue road uniforms, and for 2019, the Cardinals brought them back. Kind of. See, they took their home cream-colored throwback that says St. Louis across the front and colored it powder blue, unlike the old powder blues from back in the day that said Cardinals across the front. Cards fans are going to hate me for this, but I think the main road jersey itself should say St. Louis across the front too. I do not mind this, and I say as someone who's very selective about powder blue jerseys. Houston Astros 1994 to 1999 golden navy uniforms and 2000 to 2012 red and black uniforms. Ah yes. The uniform that replaced the blue and orange and the other that defined the 2000s Astros. Coinciding with new ownership, the golden navy one is okay, though where their uniforms before screamed 70s and 80s, this one screamed 90s with its font and new age Astros star logo. I never minded this version of the uniform, and the team has brought it back on throwback days at home and on the road. With their 2000s look, of course it coincided moving into a new stadium located at the former Houston Union Station, but also almost incurred a name change with Houston Diesels being a possibility. It seems to me it's younger fans that scoff at this look, but if you're over the age of 20, maybe 23, you remember when the Astros wore brick red and black before returning to navy blue and orange to coincide with their switch to the American League. I always loved this color combination. Maybe it's because it's what I personally remember the Astros looking like, so all in all, it's probably a generation thing. Cleveland Indians 1974 to 1977 all red uniforms. Some people were thrown off since this uniform was mentioned in the Phillies segment of every MLB team's worst uniforms, so why didn't I choose this one as the worst? Well, yes, I agree the abundance of red is an eyesore, but it sure isn't boring. This uniform at least elicits a reaction. Now, whether the reaction is good or bad is subjective, but it still makes for a good talking point. If Cleveland didn't neuter their navy blue jersey, then yes, this one would have been the worst in their history, in my view. But as is, this is more creative than this. Minnesota Twins 2016 to 2022 red uniforms. Minnesota's second attempt at a red uniform. I never minded these uniforms, but I can admit that they kind of resemble practice or spring training jerseys rather than something that belonged in a game. I didn't like their gray jersey with pinstripes on the basis that I thought it was ugly. This one is just vanilla by comparison. I guess it wouldn't have mattered whether or not this was in the Twins uniform rotation up until recently. New York Giants 2004 to 2007 red uniforms. Yes, I know their nickname is Big Blue, but Big Blue has other colors in their color scheme, which includes red. I'm a fan of most tertiary colored alternate jerseys, and plus, you typically can't go wrong with red, but I can see why traditional fans didn't think the Giants needed a red jersey, and not just because it was the first time in decades that the G-men donned red. Plus, with only winning one stinking game wearing this, probably was the best to ditch it. Los Angeles Chargers 2007 to 2019 navy blue uniforms. This one wasn't a favorite of mine, and frankly, I feel like I should have had this one be the Chargers' worst uniform. The jersey itself isn't bad, nor is the white helmet. The problem is pairing them together. Maybe it's because the navy jersey was paired with a navy helmet forever, but this combination never did it for me. Maybe the Chargers were thinking ahead in case alternate helmets got banned. The road and powder blue versions of this uniform are good, especially when they paired the powder blue blue and white uniforms with a yellow face mask, and even had the powder blue jersey be the main home jersey in 2019, foreshadowing what the team had in store for next year. Detroit Pistons 1996 to 2001 Teal Uniforms. If the Pistons' revitalized jerseys screamed late 70s, then the teal jerseys definitely screamed 90s. This style was a radical departure for the Pistons, which, while people are nostalgic for it now, many fans chastise the team for such a change. Teal replaced blue, the red version was only available in the last 2 seasons, and we got a horse on the front. I get it. Horsepower, Pistons, Detroit itself. It all makes sense, but compared to how different it was compared to its predecessors, I can see why many were alienated by this. But honestly, unlike the cheesiness that was the revitalized uniforms, this is kinda cool. It definitely fits in with the other 90s NBA designs. Maybe I'd be more up in arms if I was a Pistons fan, but I'm not. Chicago Blackhawks current reverse retro jersey. I wanted to see if this would grow on me, but no, it hasn't. They have Chicago across the front with the main logo on top of the shoulder, but this sucks. They brought back more stripage but no logo on the front? That's a letdown. The only thing that sucks more than this is this. Buffalo Sabres 2006 to 2010 uniforms. After a decade of the Iron Goat and donning red and black, the Sabres went back to blue and yellow, albeit navy blue instead of royal blue, and gave us what many have dubbed the Buffa Slug logo. It's okay looking, I guess, even if it does scream 2000s. It is a little ugly, maybe deserving of an honorable mention for the worst Sabres uniform of all time. Calgary Flames 2003 to 2020 red and black uniforms. This was the Flames home uniform in some form for nearly 2 decades, and was even an alternate briefly, and judging by itself, I don't get the hate. I always liked the look of this. Now, yes, the classic look will always be awesome, but this is good too. What I don't like is the alternate version of this from 2013 to 2016 with Calgary written in cursive with the C logo underneath it. Are we sure this wasn't supposed to be a design for a sweatshirt rather than a jersey? It looks so out of place. Edmonton Oilers oil drop Todd McFarlane uniforms. For anyone not in the know, Todd McFarlane is a renowned comic book author and artist known for working on Spider-Man in the late 80s and early 90s, most famously giving us Venom, also did work for DC, eventually founded Image Comics, and gave us Spawn, and of course loves the Oilers. Yeah, he's from Calgary, but the Oilers did exist in Alberta before the Flames moved from Atlanta. Anywho, in the 2000s, McFarlane gave back to his favorite hockey team and designed an alternate logo that the team would wear from 2001 to 2007. And yes, it does look like it was made by a comic book artist. Dubbed the Oil Drop, I always thought it was cool, but maybe that's because I like my comics. Even recently, Adidas brought the logo back for the Oilers' current reverse retro jerseys, and it still looks good there. I don't know about anyone else, but it seems like the hate stems from this just being different rather than judging for what it is. Toronto Maple Leafs 2010 to 2016 road uniforms. This one caught my attention as the Leafs generally haven't changed much of their uniforms since 1934. This uniform set came towards the end of Toronto using the most simplistic version of the logo that debuted back in 1970. It looks okay, I guess, though I prefer how they did the bottom stripe starting in 2016 over this. Frankly, I feel the 2007 to 2010 Leafs uniforms are the plainest, as Reebok completely removed the bottom stripe, which makes either jersey look naked. Anaheim Ducks 2006 to present uniforms. After Disney sold the Ducks in 2005, they dropped Mighty the next year, changed their uniforms, and won it all in the same year, which seemed to be a thing for both Anaheim teams. The first iteration of this said Ducks up until 2014, when their alternate jersey they had since 2010 became the regular jersey and basis for their road jersey. Their look from 2006 to 2013 is on the bland side, and their current look is okay, I guess, but man, were the Mighty Duck jerseys just so badass. I wouldn't mind if they went back to their pre-2006 look. Yeah, their orange jersey now has their old logo, but it'd be nice to see this logo all the time. Nashville Predators 2022 Stadium Series uniform. Okay, we've got the city nickname written in a huge font with the 3 stars from the Tennessee state flag in the middle with a guitar pick, cause get it? Nashville is known for its music. This would look okay on a sweatshirt, but on a jersey, this is ridiculously goofy looking.
So that will do it for today. Now don't get me wrong, I did like most of the ones that you guys hated, but this kind of discussion is healthy. It's never healthier to think that everyone will share the same opinion as you. Hence why I encourage everyone watching to comment. Speaking of which, go ahead and leave a comment if you'd like, follow me on Twitter, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you all later.